okay, well, like I was saying earlier, it's like the Me Too movement was made by
perimenopausal women.
Perimenopausal Gen X women.
Yes,
Many of whom, we've made this point before, many of whom like traded on their sexuality and looks, like Ashley Judd, Asia Argento, Rose McGowan, all of
Leah
these.
Remini.
Yes, a lot of these women were,
Alyssa Milano.
Oh yeah, how could we forget?
Yeah, a lot of these women were
Mother Me Too from the House of Time's Up. Coming to the stage, Mother Me Too Milano from the House of Time's Up.
Milano extravaganza.
Let's serve cunt, but let's say no.
But yeah, they were all like sexed up little starlets and now are,
Hitting the wall,
aging. And so they cooked up Me Too so they could weaponize their sexuality once again, but in this like...
It's interesting.
So they could punish men and
brain.
Also younger, hotter women who can still leverage their sexuality to get roles.
I've never thought about it through the lens of celebrity like that. That is quite interesting. Because like I said, I am, been reading a lot about celebrity culture and sort of notorious celebrities and like women who have been sort of kind of excoriated in like the pop cultural court of opinion.
Yeah.
And that is interesting. That is an interesting read. And I will think that one over.
Well, isn't it so funny and like queer that Me Too was all about Hollywood and actresses?
Yeah, it was centering
like not at all about women
but the
who
thing is,
actually run the risk of being the victims of violent sex
But here's my segue into my point. So it started as that, right? And then Gen Z, we have the tools and the knowledge to be able to spread these victim narratives and these testimonies as like the testimony as currency. As we know how to spread it better than the people that started this, because the people that started this bumbling on their iPhones, your assistant is typing out your tweets, whatever. Now it's like it's transferred over to people who we're canceling people who are not famous, who have not really transgressed against people in any sort of like institutional or powerful way. Some of these, offenses are that I've seen people post like IG stories about. They are bad, and I'm like, yeah, that's a shitty guy. Some of them I'm like, okay, like being uncomfortable is not the same thing as being in danger, mama. But that's neither here nor there. But like. Now it's transferred down. So it started in Hollywood with like women who are older, and now it's like because Gen Z has the tools and the knowledge to be able to spread these stories better than those who started it. Now it's like a kind of on the ground proletariat kind of like person to person type thing. And so people are able to sort of share these stories that once were shared about like directors and executives and whatever about just like a guy that goes to your school or something.
They've weaponized it as like as weaponry against a civilian populace, which it wasn't really intended to be used against.
Yes, when it's not like I guess Time's Up was Hollywood. Me Too was sort of just like correlated but genuinely sharing like general sexual assault stories, but now it's like
Time's Up never really popped off.
It was also like a fake for auxiliary hashtag
for rich women, but
Me Too.
But yeah, it's like I think that a lot of men now are sort of in the fallout of Me Too and then the fallout of Me Too and still experiencing it. Me Too's transfer onto Gen Z and the power that gives us.
Yeah,
because it's the girls have the power now to sort of like have their victim moment in the sun and sort of like get the eyes on them while also not really. It's just sometimes I look at these things and I go, is this the best way we can deal with that? I don't doubt that these people are genuinely traumatized by whatever was transgressed against them, but I always think it's like top down, even from like the beginning of this, the genesis of this with like the celebrities to now. I'm like, is this the way that we should be dealing with this? To me it seems like it's just the way we know how to deal with this,
the
given
mind
with,
reels
with with the tools that we've been given.
Well, no, Ivy, like my feeling always was that like this is bad, not because it's like unjust or like a witch hunt, but because it teaches young women the wrong lesson, which is like we know that people are meant to move on from trauma. And the other thing is, like, we've said this on the pod like many times over, my feeling is that women have to bill it as being mad at the fact that men are like aggressive and hostile, but really they're angry at the fact that men are oblivious and indifferent.
Yeah.
So I think the attention that you get from being a Me Too victim is like a surrogate activity for the attention you would get from a man who would parade you around town
or
and slap your ass.
Or a man who would care that he hurt you. Yeah. And it's sort of bringing the eyes on you. And I think it's interesting to me because, like, I mean, I don't know. I was on one the other night and I was really talking about this, and now I'm sort of blanking on like my general
I'm
point.
blanking in general. I'm like so severely brain dead. I'm just gonna be like the mute Indian from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Well,
so you think that the